You could fly these people out. Why not?
Because my orders are very clear. Evacuate the priest, you, and the 2 nuns.
Did you know that one of the most intense military movies of the 2000s almost didn't exist? In fact, Tears of the Sun was originally supposed to be the script for Die Hard 4. Bruce Willis eventually agreed to do the film as a standalone project, but only if the studio promised him another Die Hard sequel later. But the drama behind the scenes was Bruce Willis eventually agreed to do the film as a standalone project, but only if the studio promised him another Die Hard sequel later. But the drama behind the scenes was even more intense than the action on screen. Behind the lens, director Antoine Fuqua and Bruce Willis were at war. Their relationship got so toxic that they both swore they would never work together again. Even the title was a battle. It was originally called Man of War, but after the 9/11 attacks, the studio changed it to something more poetic, Tears of the Sun. Title meaning. The title itself carries a heavy weight. It's a metaphor for the sons of Africa and the idea that even the sun, as a silent witness to the atrocities of war, is weeping for the land. Real trauma on set. But here is a detail most people missed. The trauma on screen was sometimes all too real. Many of the extras playing refugees were actual survivors of African genocides, including the Lost Boys of Sudan. During the brutal village scene, some of their tears weren't scripted. The sound of the blank gunfire triggered real PTSD, and the raw, heartbreaking reactions you see in the final cut were genuine moments of survivors reliving their past. Origins of the script. Believe it or not, the story wasn't originally set in Africa. The script was inspired by a real-life mission carried out by the Canadian Special Forces Unit, JTF-2, in the jungles of Colombia. A former commando wrote the original account based on his team's harrowing experience rescuing civilians from a rebel-controlled zone, proving once again that truth is often more intense than fiction. Relocation and historical echoes. The film, however, relocates its action to West Africa and frames the events as a fictionalized coup in Nigeria, deliberately echoing the brutal reality of the Nigerian Civil War and the long-standing tensions among the Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa peoples. By blending those real-world rescue origins with a story about competing ethnic interests and the desperate struggle for control over the nation's vast oil wealth, the black gold that fueled both economy and violence, the narrative becomes a composite portrait of how military operations, regional conflict, and resource-driven power struggles can intertwine. Religious and ethnic conflict. The film frames the conflict as a brutal religious and ethnic war reflecting Nigeria's real tensions between the Muslim-majority Fulani in the north and Christian-majority groups like the Igbo in the south. Rebels portrayed as Fulani-led act with a cleansing, scorched earth ideology, desecrating churches and targeting clergy to symbolically erase a culture. Biblical symbolism. This sets up a near-biblical contrast. Dr. Kendricks as a sacrificial, martyr-like figure and Lieutenant Waters undergoing a moral, road to Damascus conversion from obedient soldier to protector of the innocent. The movie argues that in such a war, the most sacred act is defending civilians, regardless of faith. Continuity error. And for the eagle-eyed gearheads, there's a famous hidden mistake. Throughout the entire movie, Lieutenant Waters, a supposedly elite Navy SEAL, has his red dot rifle sight mounted backwards. It's a technical error that makes the weapon useless in real life, but in the heat of a Hollywood jungle, nobody noticed. Reality and fiction intertwined. From real-life tragedies on set to a script that changed the course of Bruce Willis's career, Tears of the Sun is a movie where the reality behind the camera was just as haunting as the story in front of it. The movie ends at the border of Cameroon with a massive airstrike that saves the refugees from the rebel army. But the real ending isn't the explosion, it's the transformation. Lieutenant Waters starts the movie as a cold soldier just doing his job, but he ends it as a man who found his soul by disobeying orders to save innocent lives. As the survivors cross the border, the film closes with a famous quote, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." This is the ultimate message, standing up for what is right, even when it costs you everything. If that ending gave you chills, hit the like button. What did you think of Lieutenant Waters' choice? Was he a hero or just a soldier who broke the rules? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your take. And if you love deep dives into movie secrets like the ones we covered today, make sure to subscribe and join the community. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.